July 12, 2012. The lawsuit against Kristen Saban, in the Circuit Court of Tuscaloosa County, Alabama 6th Judicial Circuit Civil Division. Sarah Grimes, plaintiff, versus Case No. Kristen Saban, defendant. Complaint electronically filed 6/26/2012 10:39 a.m. CV-2012-9005338.00 Circuit Court of Tuscaloosa County, Alabama. Margaria Hamner Bobo, Clerk 2, 1. The plaintiff is over the age of 19 years, and she is attending the University of Alabama. 2. The defendant is over the age of 19 years, and she is attending the University of Alabama. 3. In August 2010, Kristen Saban and Sarah Grimes were friends and sorority sisters. 4. On Saturday, August 28, 2010, Kristen Saban, McKinnon Moultrie, Hannah Muncher, and Mohan Williams were playing Power Hour, which is a drinking game on YouTube, where you drink every time the song changes. 5. Sarah Grimes arrived around 11 p.m. and began playing Power Hour. 6. Around 12 a.m., August 29, 2010, Kristen, McKinnon, Hannah, Mohan, and Sarah went to the bar called Rounders. 7. At the bar, the drinking continued and Kristen's behavior became more erratic. 8. Kristen had been dating BV, who is also at Rounders that night. 9. Kristen became angry with BV because he was not paying enough attention to her. 10. Kristen, Hannah, and Sarah stayed at the bar until last call when the lights came on, and Kristen had to sign her tab. 11. The plan was to go back home to freshen up and then go over to a pledge sister's house. 12. BV was also going, so Kristen wanted to go as well. 13. Kristen drove everyone back home where everyone gathered in the kitchen and had a snack. 14. Kristen became upset with BV again while talking over the phone. 15. Kristen was lying on the floor next to McKinnon and Hannah saying how everyone did not understand how it was for her, and Kristen became emotional. 16. After Kristen refused to get off the floor after several people had tried to help her, Sarah looked over at Kristen and said, "Kristen, please just shut up. We're all sick and tired of hearing it." 17. Kristen jumped up off the floor screaming, "No one likes you, you don't have any friends," and stormed to her room. 18. Sarah was laughing at this point because it was not unusual behavior for Kristen and made the comment, "You really need therapy." 19. Kristen then screamed at Sarah, "Yeah, because that obviously worked so well for you," and then slammed her bedroom door. 20. Everyone in the kitchen was used to seeing Kristen behave this way, and no one thought much of it. 21. About 30 minutes later, Hannah went to check on Kristen in her room and closed the door. 22. For the next 30 or so minutes, Courtney, McKinnon and Sarah were lying in Courtney's bed across the hall from Kristen's with the door open, waiting to go to the Waffle House. 23. Sarah checked her Facebook via her phone and saw that Kristen had posted a status saying, "No one likes Sarah. Yay." 24. Sarah showed Courtney her phone and got up off the bed saying, "I'm done." 25. Courtney cautioned Sarah from confronting Kristen about the status because of her nonviolent nature and previous assault on others. 26. Sarah stated to Courtney, "Well, if she touches me, I'll kill her." 27. Sarah walked across the hall with her phone in hand and knocked on Kristen's door with the palm of her hand saying, "You've got 5 seconds to take it off, or I'm going to tell everyone that you punched Daniel, Kristen's former boyfriend, in the face last week. Try me." 28. Kristen did not respond but opened the door seconds later, waving her phone in Sarah's face, causing Sarah to move backwards towards Courtney's bedroom door. 29. Kristen was yelling, "I took it off, I took it off." 30. Sarah responded, "That's fine, but we're done, you're crazy." 31. Kristen immediately used both of her hands and shoved Sarah into the corner of Courtney's open door, slamming Sarah's head 32. Sarah defended herself by pushing Kristen into the opposite wall, saying, "Don't touch me." 32. Kristen proceeded to punch Sarah Grimes multiple times in her head and nose, and to pull Sarah's hair, even though Kristen knew that Sarah had really bad migraines from a prior head injury from an automobile accident. 33. By this time Megan, who was outside in the parking lot, heard the yelling and ran upstairs. 34. Sarah screamed, "I'm calling the cops." 35. Kristen's grip on Sarah's hair prevented Sarah from getting away and they moved down the hall toward the kitchen as Sarah tried to get away. 36. After multiple blows to Sarah's face, Hannah intervened and tried to pull Kristen away but was unable to do so due to Kristen's grip of Sarah's hair, and Kristen refused to stop hitting Sarah. 37. The screaming woke up Beth Terry, who immediately jumped in to help pull Kristen off from behind. Beth's shirt was ripped and stained with Sarah's blood. 5. 38. It took both Beth Terry and Hannah Muncher to pull Kristen off of Sarah. 39. Once Kristen stopped hitting Sarah, Sarah saw a large amount of blood on the wood floor. 40. Sarah looked down and noticed a great amount of blood was running down her chest and into her bra. 41. Sarah felt her nose and realized that the blood was coming from it. 42. Kristen turned to go back to her room, picking Sarah's phone up off the floor and throwing it into the wall, attempting to break it. 43. Sarah followed Kristen along with the other witnesses into her bedroom to talk to her and found her lying on the floor to the left of her bed, with her eyes closed and crying. 44. When Sarah caught a glimpse of her face in the mirror from her bathroom, she saw that her temple had swollen to the size of a tennis ball, which was extremely alarming to Sarah. 45. Sarah kneeled down on the floor next to Kristen and calmly said, "Open your eyes and look at my face." 46. Kristen slightly sat up, opened her eyes, and Sarah said, "I would never do this to you." 47. Kristen responded, "You grabbed my throat." 48. Sarah told Kristen that she did that in self-defense because Kristen had thrown Sarah into the door frame and Sarah had to get Kristen off of her. 6. 49. Kristen's eyes appeared to roll back into her head as if she had just realized the severity of the situation, and Kristen fell back and started crying again. 50. Sarah then told Kristen that Sarah, needed to go to the hospital. 51. After Courtney agreed that Sarah needed to get checked out, Kristen began hysterically crying louder and screaming, "I'm going to jail," over and over. 52. Sarah went to DCH, the trauma hospital in Tuscaloosa. 53. Sarah was taken to the hospital by Courtney Rigel, Beth Terry, and McKinnon Moultrie. 54. Sarah reported that she had been assaulted by her friend who had hit Sarah's face repeatedly with her fists. 55. Sarah also reported that she had been bleeding some from her nose. 56. The emergency physician observed Sarah had a hematoma to the left side of her face and abrasions were seen on the bridge of Sarah's nose and left elbow. 57. The physician diagnosed Sarah with an elbow contusion, a concussion, cervical strain, and headache. Later, Sarah would be diagnosed with a deviated septum. 58. The emergency physician informed Sarah that her injuries were very serious and could have been life-threatening. 7. 59. The concussion was so bad that it affected Sarah's ability to concentrate and do her schoolwork. 60. University of Alabama police officers, Tuscaloosa police officers, and the University of Alabama Dean of Students responded to an assault call at the DCH emergency room. 61. The officers spoke with Sarah Grimes, Courtney Rigel, and Beth Terry. McKinnon had left the hospital before the police arrived. 62. The officers were told what had happened. 63. The officers observed bruises to Sarah's left eye and took photographs of Sarah's injuries. 64. Sarah stated that she did not want to have Kristen criminally prosecuted. 65. The beating was submitted to Judicial Affairs at the university and Kristen pled guilty. 66. Kristen was ordered to take psychological testing, an anger management class, and a no-contact order was issued between Kristen and Sarah. 67. As a result of the beating and the head injuries Sarah Grimes sustained by Kristen Saban, Sarah has had repeated night terrors, anxiety, physical trembling, fears of dying from brain injuries, trouble sleeping, and intrusive recollections of the event. 68. Sarah also had an increase in her migraine headaches since the beating. 8. 69. Based on the psychological problems that Sarah incurred from the beating, she began to see a psychologist for the severe emotional trauma that she sustained from the beating. 70. On December 27, 2011, Sarah Grimes underwent nasal surgery with osteotomies and reconstruction. 71. When the doctor performed the surgery, he could see the partition in the middle of Sarah's nose was deformed, was shifted, and it was a direct result of the beating that Sarah received from Kristen. Count, assault and battery. 72. Plaintiff adopts and realleges paragraphs 1-71, above, as if set out in full herein. 73. The defendant Kristen Saban did negligently, recklessly, maliciously, willfully and/or wantonly assault and batter the plaintiff. 74. As a result of the beating, the plaintiff felt physically threatened and suffered physical injuries, mental anguish, emotional distress, humiliation, permanent emotional and psychological injury, and other damages for which she claims compensatory and punitive damages. Wherefore, premises considered, your plaintiff demands judgment against the defendant Kristen Saban for compensatory and punitive damages in an amount which the jury finds reasonable and justifiable under the circumstances, plus costs and interest, but avers that the plaintiff's claim is for more than $10,000. 9. Plaintiff demands trial by struck jury. All information at Fox 6 is only correct in a court of law. Men's Help TV.